Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
It ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. G's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers might even make it even news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be coming! Know where they go. Front Sports Radio. No, we be coming!
There's a real treat for everybody. There's the real gift here this holiday season. The best damn intro in the business, put together by my guy T. Back there locking it down on the ones and twos. Shout out to Jay Peasy coming through, dropping bars for the show and continuing to help us grow and get better there. Just excited to get it all together and get it rolled out for everybody on the screen here. And man, go back and watch if you haven't. That'll get you fired up and ready to rock here. We got all kinds of things happening with Pub Sports. Looking forward to this holiday season here. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. A great weekend there. Lots of NFL this past weekend. And we're just in the midst of this thing, right? We got a week here. We're going to come up on New Year's. We're going to have some great bowl games. We've got tons of things happening with the NFL. Boy, what a shakeup we saw this weekend. Dallas takes the big L to Miami. San Fran takes a monster L to Baltimore. And then there's them Eagles. Everyone wants to write them off. They go out there and they pick up a big W. Putting the entire league in flux right now. The NFC is certainly all over the place. The AFC looks like it's open for business. But Baltimore might have officially put an end to this MVP nonsense with Brock Purdy. Let's go. Let's see how this thing's going to play out there. Lots of great NFL action around the corner. And we've got the shows for you. You know what's up with Pub Sports Radio. We're live streaming all over the place. We got Thursday show popping off here for the NFLs. We've got the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We got the boys on Wednesday, all about them hoops. All kinds of things happening with Pub Sports Radio. Appreciate everybody dropping in. 6 p.m. Missed everybody out there, you know. Just a one day off there with Christmas, but get out of rhythm. Things get a little shaky and out of sorts. We want to keep this thing going. We want to stay consistent, stay strict to the craft, not fall behind, and give you guys a good product here every Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. So thanks for dropping in here. Everybody that's here, you guys know the situation. We ask you to do 3 things. That's it. 3. 1, hit that like button there for YouTube. Give us the thumbs up. Help us promote the show and the brand. All about trying to get that recognition that we're here and we're doing this stuff. We're committed. We roll in here. Rain, sleet, or shine, Pub Sports Radio, it's time. Let's go, baby. I just made that up on the fly. But 2, we ask you guys, get a pen and paper and make sure you write down the plays, not just shared by myself and our panel, our guys around here, but you folks in the chat as well. You guys deliver bangers out there. We know all you guys there. The Nunya business play drops in there. We've got Justin McAlvey with the Stacks PODs. Joseph Thompson drops them out there for us. All you guys drop some great plays out there. So we certainly want to recognize those opportunities when they come out there. And the third thing we ask you to do is share those plays in the chat there. Let's see it, especially in a night like tonight where we're pretty singularly focused in the NBA. We want to see what you guys have to say there because I know we bring our guy on. It's Tuesday, and he's all about them hoops himself, Billy Briz. But with you guys' help, we can go out there with one focus, one vision of beating these bookies up. We want everybody to get there and stack that cash and build these bankrolls. You guys know what we do here. We'll recap last Friday. It feels like forever ago. Again, it was just a one day off, but it does feel like forever and a day back. And interesting day out there too with Friday because it was a 3-4 overall day. Transparency is super important in what we do here and showing you guys where we're winning, where we're losing, the plays that we're on. And, I talked about it. I'll take the claim to fame with the Edmonton Oilers. Everybody was rocking those New York Rangers, and it was not a good spot. We've got some great hockey that'll start back up tomorrow. Not a great spot, not just because they obviously got the job done for the Oilers, but that was the after teams play an over with the Devil spot. And that was exactly what happened with those Oilers. Now, the other side of things, the other 2 hockey games, not so great for us there. We took an L with the Bruins and we took an L with the Blackhawks. And, interesting enough about that Boston spot now just reeling here. A couple losses in a row are starting to pack on and stack up. And boy, they could have used that Christmas break. It came at the right time for them. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We're going to have a nice hockey card tomorrow to jump into. And of course, hoops and some college bowl games as well. So we'll keep our eyes on that and focused. We got the Nets +5 there. That was that late line movement for the show in the NBA. Ended up being a push for us. So we'll take the push. It is what it is. But it was interesting because we had another one that was a squirrely little finish out there that cost us. So we got the Trae Young over 28.5 points. Got that cash for us. We did not get the parlay with the Suns over and Sabonis 12.5 rebounds. But we did get the Kings at -3.5. So we did kind of hit that double dipper. We took a shot at some plus money. It was +185. But we still cashed the -110 spot with the Sacramento Kings. And then the other spot that was disappointing out there was High Point. High Point -8.5. What a low point. They win the game by 8. I was like, what number did we get? What number did we get? And it was 8.5. So we're going to take the L, and that's the way it's going to go. But again, shout out to everybody that's dropping in here. Just getting in, just getting started. You know we weren't going to leave you high and dry. We got a card tonight. And, of course, we're going to come out there and find a way to fire these bullets here. Ian Shaver, new member. What's up, Ian? Rock and roll. Happy holidays to you, my guy. Thanks for dropping back in. Nick says, what an NFL script for Christmas. Goodell has ruined football forever. You know, Nick, it's funny you say that because it was not so much my words there, but I did say to T, I was like, man, by the time the Ravens upset the San Francisco 49ers, I was just done watching all these, favorites just take the L's to the dogs out there. It was definitely a weekend it felt for the dogs. So Nunya says, let's go. And there's Justin with his stacks POD. He likes the Pistons over 112.5 on the team total. And there's his record as well. Transparent, my guy, getting it done. Real Deal Prime, happy holidays to you. Real Deal Prime says, last call, let's go. Can't wait to see that Buffalo Sabres team get back to the ice and lace the skates up. Excited for hockey. Missed that as well the last couple of days here. I was left to relegate myself to some football and some basketball, but hey, we still made some cash, so it's all good. Yeah, Nunya, we are cashing tickets tonight. What up, Ken Wood, Matthew Green, JW? There's Crystal Craig back in the house. Says, hey, Mike and everyone. Hey, Crystal. What up, Crystal? How are you? Nunya likes Virginia Tech Teuton anytime touchdown tomorrow at -201. West Virginia, Garrett Green anytime touchdown at -167. All right. Shout out to our guy there. Can make those college fantasy picks, if you will, those college player prop bets there. I'm not allowed to in New York State, so they're still kind of dragging their feet there. But shout out to our guy Nunya sharing the anytime touchdown plays in some big college games tomorrow. Nick says the Roger Goodell circus. Yeah, Goodell got us all, so it is. But Nunya likes Kansas. Jason Bean anytime touchdown. Nice little +167 spot there. And there's Kelly McInnes. Caddy Daddy, what up? Jay Peasy, what up, my guy Jay Peasy? If you didn't know, he's on the intro, baby. There's our guy Jay Peasy giving us his good bars and his good looks here. Cashed in. He like Bowling Green team total. Lost on the money line. He's got the UNLV team total. Still going to cash. Let's go. I'm excited to talk about that game. We are going to break that in there and just kind of fire off one. There's only one college football game left to go. So for the day, right? So for today, we will talk a little bit about that spot because I think it does pose an interesting opportunity, and we'll get into it. So that's where we'll start to show off. There's Jeff M, Joseph Thompson. What up, Joseph Thompson? Let's get that cash, my guy. There's Darius Moore, Pistons +6. Got a big bag on that Pistons +6 spot. Thinking that there's no way they set that record. Looking forward to talking to that game with our guy Billy Briz, and then Rodney N. Trae Young over his points, rebounds, and assist spot. So appreciate everybody dropping in. You guys, again, if you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up for us. And you know the deal here. We're going to break this thing down. You'll see the right-hand side will be the games we're going to cover, albeit this is a short card today with really just being the NBA. So we're going to focus on every game. We might not have a look on every game, but we'll at least give you the cash flow and the splits, talk about maybe any of the relevant trends that we think are out there for you to consider in case you want to make some moves on those games. But we are going to start with college football. So we'll move quick. It's just a single game, but we might as well pop this thing right off. And there's my guy, RBD 420. Happy holidays to you, Mike, Pimp Slap, and the family. Enjoy. We did. It was a nice little holiday break in there. And a lot of football. You know, my teams were stretched out from Buffalo being on Saturday, the Eagles being on Sunday or on Monday rather. And look, there happened to be a couple of games in between there on Sunday as well. So it was a lot of fun. But again, I missed hockey. I'm happy hockey's back. So Let's go. Nunya says, any NBA props sticking out to the chat? Guys, make sure you drop your plays out there. Your best looks for everybody in the chat. And let's see. David Redling says, Texas State Rice could be a track meet. So listen, let's break this first game down, guys. I did have a look on this thing. I have an official play that will make my card. I think the numbers moved as well, so we can get a better number. This Kansas UNLV game, again, 9 p.m. Eastern start. It's the last game on the card for college football, but I know some of you guys are going to want some action on it. And you know what? You might be in for a doozy. This one has the makings for Point Fest. You know, we opened the line at minus 12.5. Despite 61% of the bets and 63% of the cash falling on the Kansas side of the house, the line has dropped, and it's now 8.5s out there, 4 points from the original hop. The total opened at 63.5, has moved up to 66s in some places, with 63% of the bets and 83% of the cash on the over. I went short and sweet to the point with this one here. I'm on this first half. I got the first half now over 33.5. And a couple things to note about this game as I was kind of breaking it down. First and foremost, when you're looking at this thing, it's not a traditional football stadium. So, something to take note of is that they're playing at Chase Field. That's, home of the Arizona Diamondbacks for anybody that's not aware. And that does change sight lines quite a bit. So they kind of line this field up in a parallel degree against third base. So different setup for a lot of these NFL or these college football players that are used to, their traditional college football stadiums here. Guaranteed rate bowl, a little bit different this year as well. Just kind of looking at the last 2 years of Guaranteed Rate Bowl, we've had Big Ten teams in there. And what do we know about Big Ten teams? They tend to be lower scoring matchups when they go outside of the conference. They had a West Virginia, Minnesota game, final score 18-6. Then they had a Wisconsin, Oklahoma State game, final score 24-17. But this is an intriguing matchup. This is actually a game that I'm going to be excited to watch. We've got, first and foremost, these teams, you want to talk about like Madden video football game-esque. That's what you're going to be in store for with this game. These guys have all kinds of schemes that they're running pre-snap. And what that does is that the read and react for the defenses is very difficult. So now you've got defenses struggling with sight lines. You got players in motion all over the place. You got teams that can do both. They can run the ball. The Kansas Jayhawks ranked top 25 in almost every advanced offensive analytic, including broken tackles, pass explosiveness, run explosiveness. Should be a lot of big hits and big opportunities down there. The other side of things is you've got a freshman quarterback for UNLV, but they run a program in a very similar fashion with a lot of pre-snap motion. And that throws defenses off. That throws these guys out of flux. You got to think about these defenses with college football. What are they used to doing? They're used to looking over on the sidelines for the coaches to call the adjustments in the play so that they can adjust at the line of scrimmage. There's not going to be a lot of time for that. You're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets, multiple running backs in the backfields, 3 wide receiver sets all running deep. And I think all that's going to do is open up the opportunity for scores. What I like about this and why I isolated the first half down is because of that rest factor. Looking at rest versus rust here, I think what happens in this game is, can those defensive players adjust to the pace is going to be the biggest thing out there. Adjust to the new sight lines in the stadium's another factor out there. But at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I think this is a big number. This is the biggest number in college bowls as far as the back number. And I think it's for a reason. You got 2 explosive teams that certainly like to go out there, run and gun. Their defenses are not anywhere in elite status. In fact, each of them are outside of the top 100. But take this number, break it in half for me. Kansas, 7-0 to the over, going all the way back to October 2022, when the total's at least 62 points. So when they're expecting the Kansas games to be high scoring, they are. Also in a spot again with UNLV where this team likes to run and gun and get that ball out there. They like to throw points up on the board. If you look back at the previous matchups with these teams as well, the team that you have on the over trend right now is UNLV. Played Boise State, 44-20. San Jose State, over is on a 51, 37-31. Played Air Force, a service school, put up 58 points combined between those teams. They did have an under in Wyoming, but still tagged 48 points. And then against New Mexico, blew that thing way over the number, 56-14. Kansas is the one that we need to go out there and keep the pace. And that bodes well for these guys being a favorite. I think they are the ones that kind of front run. They go out there and they score and they get the job done. So I'm going to lock down this first half with Kansas. The first half over 33.5 on the 9 p.m. Eastern, guaranteed rate bowl game out there. And that's going to do it for football today. So let's transition though. Let's jump into this NBA. Let's bring on our Tuesday guest rocking and rolling. Had a huge week last week as well. I want to say it was a 5-1 number offhand. I do have to do some record updates, but smoking that college basketball, banging out the NBA and the association, and dropping in on last call to give you guys his best looks. Let's bring him on. You know him, you love him, Billy Briz.
What up?
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Nice little holiday action yesterday. Got to sweat out some games, a little bit of a weird type of Christmas day with the NFL being on the main screen because of the Eagles game and me watching the monitor for the NBA games.
It was a lot of fun, though. The NBA had it was a dog day for sure. I mean, if you were a dog player, you were gifted some wonderful little, tidings of joy from the bookmakers out there. I mean, everything was like, and then to finish it off with that Ravens game, just blasting San Fran. San Fran was, even at the end, it was like getting your hopes. I took a live play, getting the hopes back up that they score a touchdown at the end, and they end up getting picked again. I'm like, really? This dude got 5 picks yesterday? I mean, that was a bad spot for Brock Purdy to go out there with his MVP. In fact, I would say that Lamar Jackson has all but cemented himself in the front runner now with the battle that mattered the most here. Now you got an MVP candidate that surely looks to run away with it. So, hey, you know what? Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. They got the job done. Lamar Jackson got the job done. Interesting stats with Lamar Jackson. Never not covered the spread as an underdog and has won majority of those games outright as an underdog in his career. So, hey, you know what? I'm not a big fan of the guy's game. I don't like I don't like that run first approach and then pass. I want to see the ball get aired out, but shout out to him getting it done. Let's move on though. Let's talk about this NBA again. Some great games yesterday. We had the Christmas special. Now the NBA starts, Billy, right? We had the in-season tournament, but we all know that the pivotal point for the NBA is this Christmas timeframe. They get the marquee matchups with the exception of the fact that yesterday was 3 big matchups for the NFL. All these marquee matchups get going. These teams came in with some rest. Now we've got some of that factored out of the way, and it's time to start hooping, and hooping we're going to. So, you know the deal, you guys here. Drop your plays in the chat. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so for us. And Billy and I will just kind of roundtable this thing with the games. We'll talk about the line. We'll give you guys the movement, any trends that we have on the games, the looks, how we think the script's going to go, props. I know Billy's going to bring the goods. And, right off the top, I'll reference it and say that bottom corner, you'll see parlay corner for me. We'll talk about this game on I'll break it down into 2 components because you'll see that piece out there. But I parlayed the Nets and the Kings right off the gate and a -120 spot, not to mess around with the money line. So we'll talk about that as we move forward here. But this line opened up at -6, Billy. The Nets and the Pistons, now 6.5, 42% of the bets and 68% of the cash on the Brooklyn Nets. And then as far as the total, 54% of the bets on the under with 63% of the cash on the under. It's dropped 5 points. It's now sitting at a 228 spot out there. And what we know about these two teams here is the Nets have been a pretty sound and established cover team in the NBA. The flip side of things, the Pistons have been pissed on lately. What are your thoughts on this game, Billy? How do we open this card up with this battle royale and this barn burner?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to pass on betting this game. This is a rematch of a double head-to-head in Detroit for the Pistons. So, I mean, when you look at, like, spots that they're going to win, maybe this is a spot that they win. I don't know. I wouldn't bet the Pistons, but I would only I like Nick Claxton in this spot. He's been playing well. He's had some strong double-doubles in back-to-back games. While the Pistons get Jalen Duren back, he hasn't played since December 6th, so I only have him projected around 25 to 30 minutes. Pistons ranked 26 in defensive rating and 20th in rebounding. They've allowed 62 points per game in the middle of the paint over their last 3 games. While Duren should help the bleeding down low, I like the spot for Claxton's double-double prop. It's at plus 140 rebounds, 9.5 at -106. I didn't make a move on this game, but if I did, those would be the props I would lean.
I like it. I just simplified this thing and said we've got 2 teams that play, incredibly well. The Nets are 14 wins on the season, playing against a team with a negative point differential. And, I just thought at a -11.7, I didn't want to get involved with the points. I will say this, though, just a big step back. There's a trend for day after Christmas spots out there for the home teams. It kind of makes sense that it would favor the home teams, Billy, when you've got a 59-37 record going on over, a 96 game sample. It's the home teams the day after Christmas. and it's 52-43 to the over. So slight bump on the overs. We're seeing more overs than unders. And then that the home teams, the teams that didn't have the travel spots, are finding a way to come through and get victorious on the spread line. Does that surprise you at all, or is that kind of what you've been kind of noticing with the NBA as a whole?
It makes sense. Usually with these Christmas Day spots, usually you're flying back home for a day and then you're flying out Christmas morning, like the day after Christmas morning, to the next city or that night of. So, yeah, I could definitely see that favor in the home spots. It's just that specifically on today's card, a lot of big home underdogs. So there's a couple of home favorites that I do like that kind of follow that trend.
Interesting spots here. We'll have to see how that evolves as the card moves on here, but nothing official for Billy. One of the 2-leg parlay for me. The next game we're going to break down here, we're going to get into this Magic and Wizards game for everybody. We opened at -6 for the Wizards. I'm sorry, with the Magic. We're now at -7, 62% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the Magic. And we're starting now to see 7.5s out there as well. So pretty consistent buy on the Magic all day today. The total opened at 237.5. It's sitting at 237.5. 79% of the bets, 60% of the cash on the over here, Billy, with marginal movement at best. Do you have any looks for us here?
Yeah, I actually like this spot for the Orlando Magic. They've been kind of trending down in form, which kind of creates a good buy low spot for us. They won that last game against against the Indiana Pacers on right before Christmas. But prior to that, they lost, 4 games in a row. So these are kind of like must-win spots for the Magic if they want to make a good deep run inside the playoffs. This is the type of team that they need to beat. And I like this matchup for both Banchero and Wagner from a betting perspective. It looks like Wagner's kind of the way to go here. And that's what kind of led me to parlay in the Magic. He's in a really good spot. His over points is 23.5 at -118. He's torched the Wizards defense, scoring 31 points on November the 29th and December the 1st in their first 2 games of the season. And the Wizards play the fastest pace in the NBA. And they've been getting killed by the shooting guard position. Some of the guards that have had totals against the Wizards this month, Anthony Simons, 41 points, Ingram, 40 points, Jaylen Brown, 36 points. Guards are torching the Wizards right now. So I kind of like Franz Wagner over on his points, and that kind of led me towards the Magic. I thought it was actually interesting that the Magic were actually a bigger of a favorite against the Wizards than the Nets were against the Pistons, considering the Pistons are on a 27-game losing streak. I think the line is highly indicative to it seems like when you want to back the Wizards, it's usually on the road at big dog prices, not at home at big dog prices, which is kind of different than what we usually go for, like betting scenarios. We usually want to back a big home dog, but the Wizards have been getting pissed on at home. So I think it's another L for them. Orlando, they do play Philadelphia. While that could be a look ahead spot tomorrow, I don't think they're really looking ahead. No Joel Embiid inside the lineup. Orlando's looking to pick up this win. Hopefully bench the guys by the fourth quarter so they can get ready for the home game tomorrow against Philadelphia.
All right. So is that a play for you? Do you have Wagner over? And
no, just the first half of a 3-leg parlay for me.
Oh, I got you. I thought I heard you say that, and I was like, did I not write it? My pen and my pad are not next to me today, so I must have shuffled the office around here with this long holiday. But I'm gonna make it an official play now. For me with the Wizards, I like what I hear you say about the pace, and that's kind of what I was thinking as well in this game. I'm less than comfortable with that Magic spot and who they have kind of coming on deck here, but from a game they need to win perspective, you got to come out there and ball in this game. And at the same time, the Wizards are the ones that push the pace as far as not playing defense. Wizards 26-4-2 when they're divisional dog. If they pushed or lost the last game against the spread, and their opponents coming off a win of less than 10 points. So interesting spot for the 26-4-2 out there as far as the over on the Wizards side of things. The Wizards are 0-22 straight up, losing by 12.5 points when they're a dog of no more than 10. Their opponent scored fewer than 134 the previous game. So I kind of looked at this thing, though, and thought ultimately for me, the way I got there, each of the last 8 games between the Magic and the Wizards at Capital One Arena have gone over the total as well. Lots of things kind of pushing. We got these rested teams. I referenced that NBA trend is kind of that game after Christmas with teams that run pace. And I think we're in a spot where we get to buy low. The last 2 games for the Wizards went under. The last 2 games for the Magic have gone under as well. So I'm going to make it official. I'm going to take the 237.5 as far as that over. Let's see some points. We got Billy's first leg of his parlay. Franz Wagner going out there trying to get it done with over 23.5 as well. And onward and upward we go here. The next game we're looking at, the Timberwolves and the OKC Thunder. Am I out of whack? I might be out of sequence.
No, that's correct.
Okay, good. Yeah. I was just looking at my notes there, and it looked like I was off. Thanks for bringing me back in, Billy. The Timberwolves opened at +4, but now we've seen this number drop as low as -1.5 out there. So suggesting to me that there's definitely some potential injury news out there. 53% of the bets and 73% of the cash on the T-Wolves. And the total opens at 225.5. Now 228. 83% of the bets, 86% of the cash sitting there on this over with a couple of points movement, with 2.5 to 3 points of movement with this game, Billy. Give it to us. What are your thoughts? What are you looking for this one?
Yeah, these are just one of those type of games where it's going to be a great game to watch, but this isn't a game that you need to go straight to the betting window with. If I had to go to the betting window with this one, it would probably be Minnesota, but I would want Karl-Anthony Towns kind of in the lineup for that one. The Twin Towers seem like a good matchup against the Thunder, who kind of bleed points inside the paint and rebounds. Chet Holmgren, great basketball player, but he's still getting to his grown man muscles down low. And you got Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns banging down low. So I would kind of want both Twin Tower men to be down there. But I like Minnesota here in this spot, but I didn't get to the betting window with it. Just seemed like one of those spots where, like, you think you know more than the bookies, and maybe the Thunder just bounce back off of some dreadful performances in their last couple of games. So, I mean, in their last game against the Lakers, this is going to be their 4th home game in a row. So, I mean, fading the team in their 4th home game in a row, it doesn't really seem like the best fade of fatum spots here. So, a game that I wouldn't really want to get to the betting window with.
Yeah, and I was just kind of looking through the numbers. I mean, SGA, all I've been seeing all day is SGA. And you know, rightfully so. You know, Karl-Anthony Towns clearly questionable right now. And I haven't seen an update. I was just kind of looking through Fantasy Labs there, trying to see if they had an update for us, but I don't see anything on this particular spot. And it looks like the OKC Thunder are pretty good to go. A spot that's tough for me is, and I guess it's just last year's consideration. I struggle with OKC as a favorite. We got him. Maybe it's just because I was biased from catching him as nice big dog prices last year. But it just isn't a spot I want to lay. This definitely, I think you said it too. It feels, if you didn't say trappy, but I'll say it. It does feel a little trappy with the number. Like, everybody sees the record for, really both these teams and what the Minnesota Timberwolves have done. And it's like, oh, I can get him at a +2. On the same side of things, though, I could see OKC bettors thinking, I only have to lay a bucket at home. So, not the best game that I want to get involved with either. In fact, I have a hard pass on this game. I don't have anything interesting in this one here. Daryl Lyle says he likes the Wemby PRA. I did see Wemby's ruled in. Channing Brown says, Merry Christmas, Channing Brown. And there's Man Bear Pig. What up, Man Bear Pig? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great holiday, my guy, Man Bear. And fade my picks, 10K on Colby. Oh, man, hate that with Colby not coming through for you. But hopefully today we get it. Tarek B likes the Magic first half. They've got a look-ahead spot tomorrow against the Sixers. We just covered it as well, and spot-on situation out there. I just want to see points in that game for me. That's all I want for that particular game. But let's keep rolling. Let's move through this card. We're moving at a nice pace. Plenty of time to get it done tonight. Just a couple of spots in the card already, but plenty to go. And we're going to look at this Grizzlies-Pelicans game. Man, Ja comes back, and what's going on, baby? Memphis is running hot. The Pelicans are running hot as well. We got a game here. The line opens at 4.5, and really no movement. There's 4.5s. There's still 5s out there, so you definitely want to line shop the situation. 68% of the bets and 84% of the cash on those Pelicanos. The total opens at 229.5, and it's kind of still sitting there at the same spot. 90% of the bets and 96% of the cash. Thinking this is a score fest tonight, Billy. Take it away. What do you got for us here?
Yeah, the Grizzlies are 3-0 since John Morant's returned suspension. 5 games out of the play-in spot in the West. Rematch of Ja's debut from a week ago, where the Grizzlies came back from down 20 plus, and we talked about it here on the show. I mean, the Pelicans were minus 7.5-point favorites. We were seeing it go up to, and we were saying I wouldn't be betting against the Pelicans. I wouldn't be betting against the Grizzlies in Ja's first game back. And not only the Grizzlies go out there and come back from 20, they actually won the game outright. Shouts to John Morant. But the last time this was lined, it's now where I think it should be lined at. -5 for the Pelicans. Seems like a good spot here at home. They're 10-5 ATS at home this year. Marcus Smart could return for this one. This line could drop down to 4. But the way I got in on this one officially was CJ McCollum over 2.5 3-pointers, -142. We talked about how appealing the sides were, but the prop was the more appealing play, and we ended up cashing out one pretty easily. So I'm going to go right back to the well. I like this positive regression spot here for McCollum. He's missed his 3-point prop in his last 2 games, but he's still gone over 60% in his last 10 games. The Grizzlies are ranked 27th and 28th in 3-pointers allowed and opponents' 3-point percentage. McCollum's been averaging 5.2 3-pointers versus Memphis. He had 7 in that game that we bet him over 2.5. The game before that, he had 1, and then the other games he had 6, 6, and 6. So he's been shooting it well against the Grizzlies. I think we're due for a good positive regression spot. So I'm going right back to the well here with McCollum over 2.5 threes and not sweat out a side and enjoy this game.
I like it. I like the play. I like the look. I love the spot when you got the guy. I think it was Steph Curry that you and I both were talking about almost a similar spot where, I mean, obviously the big trend going for Steph's direction, and then he smoked that number. And I like that McCollum look a lot tonight. That might get involved with a couple of spots. Look at, wish I had more creativity in this thing other than saying, Memphis is back. They got Ja back here. We got the Pelicans. Can the Pelicans keep the pace up with Memphis now? You got a motivated, fired up team in the Memphis Grizzlies. They're trying to get themselves back. It's funny because they were saying in their first 3 games since Josh come back, they had more wins than Detroit, I think it was, on the season. So, as far as that game's concerned and the pace that I think out there, I wish it wasn't the revenge spot with just a couple of games back, but yeah, Christmas is in between there. And I think Memphis is a live dog in this spot here. I went official with the +5. I know that the road teams have won each of the Pelicans' last 6 games. New in a row at home. But Memphis has got 9 first quarters in a row when they're playing the Pelicans. So there was definitely some opportunity that I saw for this spot with the Pelicans themselves. I want the 5. I'll probably get there and sprinkle the money line, but I just thought with this line kind of being frozen with the total movement, could the Pelicans come out here and blow them out of the gym in the revenge spot? Maybe. But I think Zion's going to get himself a little tired in the second half of this thing. We know he's a big boy. We just had a big holiday. He probably had himself a nice big turkey meal. And
Zion's not the matchup to worry about. It's more of like if Ingram and McCollum are getting it going, the Grizzlies don't really have people to stop McCollum and Ingram. So like their best defender last year was Dylan Brooks. They didn't really replace Dylan Brooks with anybody. Their best replacement was Marcus Smart. This is his first game back in over a month. He's going to be in the starting lineup. Is he going to be the guy? I mean, it's an upgrade from who they had in there prior, but I could definitely see them fucking up shots and stuff like that. Now you have a starting lineup of Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, and Desmond Bane. Granted, that sounds good on paper, but if you look at the heights of the 3 of them, I mean, holy fuck, man, that's a short-ass fucking – you got a 6'4" guard and a 6'5" small forward guarding a 6'5" shooting guard who shoots a lot and a 6'7" slasher. I don't know, man. It just seems like a good like matchup scenario for the Pelicans alternative players, because in that last game, Zion only had 13 points and he kind of got shut down by Jaren Jackson Jr. and they're still up by 20+ points.
Oh man, that's not the kind of stuff I want to hear. I bet you I got another one on the card that you're gonna think about. Oh, might even be this next. I'm guessing. I'm speculating in that spot, but I just you gotta show me they're gonna take him down and beat him. And it's just Pelicans have been running really hot at home. There's no question you can't win 10 first halves in a row at home without going out there handling your business and coming ready to play at the gym. And That should be a lot of fun, though. I'm excited. There's a lot of counter narratives in that game, a lot of point prop opportunities out there. Our guy Billy's dropping the CJ McCollum spot over 2.5. So get the popcorn ready and let's have some fun with that game. That'll definitely be on the television. So next game we're going to talk about the Pacers and the Rockets. And I had a tough time. I sat on this one. Literally, this is the first game I looked at this morning, and I don't know why. It was just I opened up my app, and there it was. And I kind of been looking back and forth at it all day. The line opened at -2 with the Rockets. Moved up. There's 3.5s out there now, depending on where you line shop. 82% of the bets and 84% of the cash on the Houston Rockets. The total opens at 237.5. Billy, we're at 89% of the bets. Only 61% of the cash, but they have moved it to 238.5. And we're seeing some 239s out there. Do you have a player?
This is what you call an NBA League Pass game, meaning like we saw the Pacers throughout the NBA in-season tournament. They looked the best that they looked all year. And since that in-season tournament, they've looked like dog shit. They're talking about trading away half of the team to get more wings and stuff like that. And they're kind of reverting back to their old ways. I mean, they've been getting smoked since that. The only game that they won, I think, since the in-season tournament championship game was, I think, against the Hornets on December the 20th. And they won 144-113. Other than that, they've been getting smoked, not covering the spreads. I'm talking about getting smoked in these games. Now you're playing against a Houston Rockets team who you would think at this game with a 238 total would be a high-scoring game. But to be honest with you, it feels like the Rockets in the under. I mean, the Rockets have been taking the air literally out of the ball, slowing it up, playing half-court basketball, banging down low with Sengun, running kind of Jokic-like plays, and they've been kind of trying to mirror how the Nuggets play, and they've been playing really good at home, one of the best home ATS teams in the NBA. And I would only lean the Rockets here, but it's just a spot where it's two conflicting styles. If the game goes over, then I think the Pacers are live to win the game outright. But if this game goes under to 238 total, which is a low total considering, look at the Pacers' last 4 games total versus Orlando 245.5, Memphis 247, Charlotte 245.5, and the Clippers was 252. Now we see a total popped up around 238. So the books are adjusting, but not fully adjusting for the way the Pacers have looked differently. They've been having some of the highest totals ever in NBA history. Now a 238 total seems high on this card, but I think this game goes under, and I think the Rockets win.
I think that's a sneaky look. You know, I have a couple of spots there that I went to. I parlayed this one here. The 2.5, I wish it was 5. I wish the number was that 5 like we saw with that Memphis game, because I'd feel a lot better with the Rockets. This definitely feels tricky with the side itself, and I shied away from the points themselves. I went with the safe route with the Rockets on the money line, but I dropped Miles Turner in there to get 12+ points because of the matchups in there. His total right now is set at 15.5. He's been going over that number significantly. We know it's him and Halliburton are the two guys that kind of go out there and try to run and gun, run a ton of pick and roll plays and kind of the way they do things. But I thought in this spot with Turner, first of all, returning the Texas Longhorn, some good feelings out there, coming back to his former stomping grounds. But it's a minutes thing. And as long as he gets 30 minutes, I think he gets this 12 and then some. And the fact that I could add the Rockets in there on the money line. The motivation spot I thought for the Rockets in this one is the Pacers have won 7 times in a row against the Rockets. Man, if you're not fired up to go out there and take this team down now, when the hell are you going to be with rest? They've been playing well. You know they're not going to be sleeping on them boys when they come into the gym. So, is the 2 points a few too many for me to go into? Yeah, I think it's a last basket type of opportunity, but I like that Turner being parlayed in there with it. I get his points down to 12 from the 15.5. And the Rockets on the money line, and it turns it into a plus money spot for me. And that was the way I kind of went with that angle. So official for me. And then did you have anything official with this one?
No, I didn't go anything official. Okay. This is a game that you can go back and forth all day between, but I would say Rockets and the under would be the way to go.
I like that. I like the thought. And even with the under, as long as it's Hallie that doesn't go off and put up 10 three-pointers, then I still think.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you like the Rockets and the under, the
bet worker, Merry Christmas, fellas, late as usual, and we're riding with the Pistons. Oh, are we riding with the Pistons tonight? Some of the guys in the chat are riding with the Pistons. They gotta win a few more for me before.
Yeah, I can't put money on the Pistons right now. I mean, if you like if you think the Pistons are going to win, just bet the over.
Issue Boy says Cali needs to legalize gambling. Stuck with childish apps like Prize Picks. You can have some fun with it though. That's why we try to break these player props down, give you some different ways to look at these games. And Nathan Cerna says, I think the Pacers keep it close, then get smoked. Yeah, I like the sounds of that, Nathan Cerna. That works for me. Fernando Mendoza, big spot out there. Did you see our guy and what he did over the holiday here? Cashed yesterday. He had Luka's 6+ 3-pointer. Cashed the Luka 50+ points and the Mavs to win. Man, that had to be I don't know if that was a parlay or not, Fernando Mendoza, but that had to be a monster payday. Good for you. Shout out to our guy, Fernando. And I saw Kelly Visa were going head-to-head in the spot out there. So that's going to happen. Yeah, that's okay. We'll do that from time to time. Nathan Cerna likes the Rockets -2 at -140. And there's our guy, Jay Peasy, laughing away out there. Nathan Cerna's on the Kings, the Rockets, and the T-Wolves as well. Caddy Daddy, what up, Caddy Daddy? Dropping it out there. Says Bujan has a good spot for that Pistons game rather than a side. And Nunya says, damn, my book is limiting my bet size on these prop parlays. Yeah, they're going to do that when you hit them a few times. And that's where you got to sprinkle it out to several of them to keep it rolling. But let's keep it rolling here. We got a few more games to break down, and then we'll get you guys rolling on your way here. Enjoy this Tuesday with a nice little NBA. It's a little dessert menu after yesterday's feast with those big spots, but it should be a nice opportunity for us to get paid. So let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the docket, Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls. The line opens at +2. The Bulls have moved to +3, 68% of the bets and 54% of the cash on the Bulls. The total moving upward opens at 235.5. Now seeing some 236s. One book even is hanging at 237.5. It's just dropped to 237. So looks like there's some buyback now. It looks like that was pretty significant buyback to this under, and they dropped the line as far as being able to tell the cash flow for the total. So I was just going to say 237.5. We just dropped to 237. Late breaking news, Billy. I don't know if that affects any thoughts you have on this game, but share with us, give us some insight in how you think this one goes down.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. This is my favorite game from like a prop perspective. You get the Bulls here who've been playing a lot better basketball, a team that we've been riding their props with, and now they get a pace-up spot against the Atlanta Hawks, who they're inconsistent, but when they're playing good or bad, regardless, their games are still going over the total. So a team that doesn't really play a bunch of defense, Jalen Johnson's back in the lineup for the Hawks. So if you're looking at it from a spread perspective, I mean, they haven't been covering spreads with him out of the lineup, so he's back in the lineup. So that's only can help the Hawks here. He's not going to really change the point spread, but he'll change the way the Hawks will play. But regardless of the fact, this is the coveted Kobe White segment, but we're off the Kobe White train tonight, and we're going to go down a different path tonight. And it's going to be Patrick Williams over 1.5 3-pointers at -136 on FanDuel Sportsbook. He's been playing well for the Bulls, man. He scored 13+ points in 5 consecutive games, and during that time span, he's been shooting the ball well from the 3-point line, 14 for 21 from the 3-point line. He's gone over his 3-point prop in 7 straight games, and during the month of December, he's gone over 8 out of 11 games. So we're rocking with Patrick Williams over 1.5 3-pointers. It's a good spot for him. Pace-up spot. Hawks don't play defense. The matchup looks well. Patrick Williams is going to hit those shots today.
I like it. I like the thoughts there. A lot of steam coming in there for this Atlanta Hawks spot. Just worth noting, and kind of the benefit here with last call, 28% of the bets, but 43% of the cash sitting there on that Hawks when I put this together this morning or this early afternoon. Now we've got 32% of the bets and 46%. It was a pick 'em. Now it's -2.5. So, I guess I would say when you look at that and you kind of think about the numbers, 68% of the bets and 54% of the cash are taking the Bulls. It's moved 3 points against them. So, and those numbers have been pretty static. If anything, there's been slight tick on the Hawks there. Something to look at there. Maybe the Atlanta. I don't know how I could get there with the Hawks. Maybe they make my card in the end. If you look at the money line, -130, now -134, 62% of the bets, 73% of the cash, and Oh, do I do it? Do I do it?
I
Do
don't
I
know.
do it?
Atlanta betting perspective, if you ever want to sweat an NBA basketball game, bet the Atlanta Hawks. You're going to go through a lot of emotions and good and bad. I literally don't think I've bet on them since that game in Mexico City against the Orlando Magic.
I don't think they've made my card. I feel like I might have had a total somewhere in the equation for them, but man, just to see the line moving like this this is that classic reverse line movement spot there where everything says that there's the Bulls should come out here and get the job done. And with the Levine factor, we know that they've just been firing. But shout out to all you guys in the chat, Billy, as well. We beat up that Kobe White spot, man. Then even after they moved his points as many spots as they did, we were still coming in there taking rebounds and assist looks on there as well. And I mean, that was just everybody being in tune to cash with him. So I'm going to table it. I might come back and add that game. I got a little bit of time to work on that one here. 8 p.m. start Eastern. Let's keep rolling.
It's a weird conundrum tonight. Great daily fantasy play on DraftKings and FanDuel because of this price tag, but not a specific. It was weird because I have Kobe White in all my daily fantasy lineups, but usually when I do that, I usually bet on the person's PRA or something like that. But the number was so fucking high, man. It's just like, I mean, we beat that shit down to where Kobe White's getting priced at like a stud player, like he should be.
Yeah, I remember I took him at like 18.5 at one point, and then I laddered. I got like his 20 plus, and it was a nice plus. It was like a 130 plus 130 kind of plus money spot, and he smoked on that as well. So yeah, we definitely beat him up there. But I love the look with the threes. We got Tarek B says he likes the Hawks first half. Nathan Cerna says he's playing the Wounded Tiger theory. There's Kelly V says T Young and Boost out have both been injured. Yeah, both have injuries. Sorry, I'm tongue twisted here. A lot of cocktails over this holiday weekend. But what else is new? What else would you expect from your boy here? Yeah, Booch is out. Nathan Stern, yeah, we got it. So Kelly, that's definitely gonna validate the point movement then.
That would make me want to bet the Bulls, though. Honestly,
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Because is he worth that many points on the spread from where this is that kind of classic question. You know, the line opens up at twos. I mean, it's moved like 3 points, 3.5 points in that direction. Does one player constitute that 3.5 points? And if so, is it him? And I don't know that that's him. So I'm gonna pass. I'm glad we talked it down and broke it out. I got games on the card tonight. I don't want to chase anything ridiculous. So that doesn't mean I might not live bet it though. We'll see what happens.
Well, if you think about it from like a basketball perspective, you put Andre Drummond in there for Nikolai Vucevic. You're not asking him to score 20 and 20 like he's on the Detroit fucking Pistons. He just needs to fucking make sure Clint Capella doesn't grab a bunch of rebounds.
Right.
He just bangs down there. The only people that were really betting on to shoot shots in the game is DeMar DeRozan and Kobe White. So as long as they get their offensive game going, I think the Bulls. I think the reverse line movement could put me on the Bulls rather than Vooch being out. And now I want to bet the Hawks. No, I think I think you go the opposite.
Yeah, I was doing that with some NFL this weekend, and I know different sport, but had some success with kind of looking at how many points are these guys worth, and at this point, is it just late steam chasing something, or is it the public getting out of work late trying to chase something, and they hear that news that he's out, and they're just shoving this line the other direction, and that might have moved too far. So interesting spot. I might have to go if I do make anything official here at the end. I'll certainly highlight it, and then if I or if I miss it and I go live, I'll post it on Twitter for everybody, or X now. But what up, Jacqueline? Happy holidays. Good to see you in here, Jacqueline. Caddy Daddy says the Kobe White 20 plus and 5 plus assist is minus 115. Speaking of our guy Kobe, we might have to get some show Kobe White jerseys made up if it's going to keep going this direction with us and our guy out there. So let's go. We got the Jazz and the Spurs. We're rocking here, 8 p.m. Eastern. A lot of big 8 p.m. starts tonight. Line opens at minus 1.5 for the Jazz. Now 2.5 and on its way to 3.5. 78% of the bets and 61% of the cash. So a lot of public action taking them Jazz. Again, that constitutes parlays, teasers, and everything else that kind of can bundle under the sun. But the cash, a little bit more of that sharper money or some of those bigger bets now taking the Spurs side of things here. Line opens up at minus 120. The money line now moved to minus 145 with 45% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the Jazz. The money line is moving that direction. Frozen total alert, though. 242.5 is where it opened. 242.5 is where it sits. 68% of the bets and 67% of the cash on the over. expecting points, not seeing any movement, Billy. Does that surprise you?
Not too much. I think that's tied towards Victor Wembanyama's questionability. I'm leaning towards that he's more in than out, but if he is out, that probably would buoy the total a little bit. Like I would expect it to move a couple of points, but it seems like a spot where it's a Spurs spot. You have the Jazz. They've been traveling a shit ton, man. I mean, Sacramento, Brooklyn, at Sacramento, then home at Brooklyn, then back to Cleveland, then at Detroit, then at Toronto, then now you go back home and do the Christmas celebration stuff, and then you go back out on the road to San Antonio. But granted, for them, as these games are going, they're getting healthier and healthier, and this is the healthiest that the team has been so far this year with the mix of guys that have been playing better for them. Keontae George is back in the lineup. Clarkson came back off the bench in that last game in Toronto. He had over, I think it was 25 plus points off the bench in a win against Toronto as big dog. So from a spot scenario, it seems like the Spurs, but from a roster talent standpoint, I kind of trust the Jazz players a little bit more. But if you're betting on the Spurs, it would probably be early and often because, I mean, the Spurs are actually one of the best first quarter ATS teams in the NBA. It makes sense. Usually you have Wembanyama playing a lot of that first quarter and stuff like that. But off of the eye test alone, I can't put money on a team that doesn't have a fucking starting point guard. I mean, I think people underestimate how easy it is to get extra points for a big man with a point guard. Like Victor Wembanyama has a real point guard in there. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine what his totals would be. Somebody that can throw him an alley-oop from in the half court or just catch him flipping. So like until the Spurs get that figured out, I'm out on them. They got Keldon Johnson coming off the bench. Maybe Julian Champagne is a better ball handler, playmaker. He was kind of like the Spurs top guy in that summer league tournament thing that they had over the summer with Wemby on that team. It was really just him and Julian Champagne running the show. So maybe they're trying to get some more of those summer league sets that were working for him to work here towards an NBA. But until I see it happen, I don't want to put my money on this game.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through to see some of the it's interesting with the Keldon Johnson move there, taking him and putting him on the bench, but I don't really see anything else that I see Wemby will play. That's just the only, and then Vooch is out. Those are really the only two official. Jalen Williams will play. Cody Zeller ruled out. Are the only real spots that I see as far as current updates on these numbers. This is a pass game for me as well. I'm with you. The Spurs, I want to get behind the excitement with Wemby, but he's let me down now on the blocks a couple of times. So I think a 7-foot, guy out there should be able to put his hands up and block a few shots. And I was thinking about going back to it tonight in some fashion, but ultimately I missed it. The reason was I was thinking about the number of shots that we're going to see. The San Antonio Spurs 12-0 to the over going back to March 15th when they're not a 5-point or greater dog in games out there. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, how come the Spurs are a 4-24 team against a 12-18 Jazz team, and they're only 3.5-point spots out there, not threes in some cases as well. It's almost like they're begging you to take that Utah spot. And does Utah end up losing the game outright? I don't know. It's just a weird spot with the side, the total. Like I said, the 12-0 spot for ultimate overs for the Spurs games themselves. It's a big number, man. 241.5. I mean, that's 242.5. It's moving downward as well. I'm just not getting the right buy signs that I want on that particular game. But let's go. Let's keep rolling. We got a couple more here. Let's see if we can't carve out a few more winners from this card tonight. Next game, we're going to talk about the Sacramento Kings, the Portland Trailblazers, and it is the second leg of my my parlay card out there, right? So we've got the Nets and the Kings. And again, for me, Billy, I'll keep it short and sweet. It was just that point differential spot. Good team versus not good team. When you're a home dog in the Portland Trailblazer spot, not a spot you want to be as well. The line opens at -6. It's moved to 8s and now 8.5s with 71% of the bets and 48% of the cash on the King side of things. And then as far as the total, opens at 235.5, has moved to 236.5, starting to see some steam and taking it to 237.5. So It does look like there's support for this over. You look at the overall 86% of the bets and 67% of the cash, Billy. Do you have a play on the Kings Trailblazers game?
Yeah, actually, you just as a little parlay piece. This is what I would say honestly, for the Kings, this is what I would say a must-win spot for them. They lost against the Warriors. They lost against the Wizards. Then they won against the Suns last week, and they also lost against the Warriors twice in the Dallas Mavericks. So they've been losing a lot of ball games, and they're about to go on another. This is the first of a 3-game road trip for them. They play at. Let me look at this again. I think it's at Atlanta on Friday and at Memphis on Sunday. So this is a spot where if you're going on a 3-game road trip, maybe a little bit sick that Light the Beam still doesn't have a Christmas game over in their home arena. I think the Kings come out here and just get the job done. I don't know if they cover the spread. 8 points is a lot of points. I mean, the Blazers have been a gritty team, but grit isn't going to help them in this game. The Kings have just as much grit as the Blazers. I don't think they catch them sleeping here. I think the Kings win this game outright. I use it as a second leg of a parlay piece, and we'll talk about the third game that I bet straight.
All right. Kelly D says, since Murray's return to the Sacramento game, issues messed up the chemistry. Maybe there's the sweaty butcher. Home dogs with a total of 236 or higher. Coming off a loss are 14-4-1 to the over. Love the numbers, Sweaty Butcher. There's Cheshire Cat. He's waiting for line for Cole Anthony all day. JPZ likes the Rockets -1 in the first quarter. Seems like the bet. Appreciate all you guys dropping in, sharing those points again. Hope everybody's had a happy holiday. We're in the midst of this holiday season. We're trying to stack some cash to pay for those gifts and dinners and everything else that goes into it. I'll share this with you guys. The Kings have covered the spread in 12 of their last 13 games when they're following a home loss. So they're very much a bounce back team in that spot that, I love parlaying that together with Billy's thought process there about the road that they're about to travel and what they've got to do. And it does feel like it's a nice spot. We're seeing the number move in the direction. Road teams that are shorter than a +7 off a home loss are 34-2 when they have rest and the total is more than 224. So a couple spots that do support the Kings and separate looks at it. You can find a lot of trends for a lot of angles, but when you find, really nothing on the one side, and if anything, everything's saying fade that home dog and jump on that King spot. That's again why I put it in the second leg of the parlay. It was a -1. I think it was a -122 spot for me. Just felt like it was a low opportunity to take advantage of what I think are clearly the superior teams. But last game on the card, Billy, we got there. Nice little Tuesday.
That Sacramento thing. It seems like their Christmas letdown spot was the day before Christmas Eve where they got smoked by the Warriors in Golden State. So it seems like a spot where like everybody gets together for Christmas and they fucking say, all right, we're about to go on a 3-game road trip. We got to win the first game of the 3-game road trip.
I love that look. I love the angle. I do think that with that holiday, connection and opportunity with a team that does bounce back very well, it doesn't concern me that much. When you see the margin of victory in these trends that I read off for you, 6.2 on the one, 7.4 on the other. We've seen 2 points of movement, so that would suggest that we still have a little bit of wiggle to navigate. And certainly with what's that?
Malik Monk's back. That could be why the line went up a little bit.
That could very well be it indeed. And hey, I like it. Bring some guys back, make those moves. Let's keep it rolling. Last game on the card tonight for everybody here, the 10:30 special, the Charlotte Hornets, the LA Clippers, the Clip Show firing now that they got this hardened scenario and formula figured out. -10s have moved to -13.5. I'm gonna have to line shop this thing. 73% of the bets, but 58% of the cash on the Clippers. And the line's moved 3.5 points. The total opens at 228.5. Now seeing 227.5. So there's a slight tick downward, which doesn't surprise me for home Clippers games, but 66% of the bets and 96% of the cash on the under. Billy, take it away.
This is a smash spot here for the Clippers, man. I like on FanDuel, they have the 11+ win margin. That was -140, but that's gone up to -160. But I would take the Clippers on the spread. It's the third leg of the 3-leg parlay. That was the Magic, Kings, and Clippers, even odds. And then for this one, I like the Clippers on the spread. The Hornets enter this game on a 7-game losing streak. They're 1-7 ATS in their last 8 road games. The Clippers are coming off 2 back-to-back blowout losses versus the Thunder and the Celtics. The Clippers have played the Hornets well, 8-2 in their last 10 versus Charlotte. I like the Clippers to get back in the win column. They were riding a 9-game win streak last time we were on the show talking about the Clippers. That was prior to last week. And they had some things clicking, regardless if Kawhi is in or out. I think this is a Clipper spot. I think the line's going up because Kawhi is back in, so that's only going to help us. And the Clippers, they're kind of laughing. They watched that game on Christmas Day and watched LeBron and the Lakers get blown out in crypto arena. And they're like, dude, we're really the home team that you really want to back. They won 11 out of their 15 home games this season, and I think the winning continues here. And I think the biggest thing is we didn't back them off the first game after the loss. We're backing them off of back-to-back losses. So This is like the must-win Clipper spot. Am I a little bit nervous that they had Christmas yesterday? A little bit, but this is also a little bit of a better spot. You don't have to go out on the road. You're getting a travel of the Hornets. The Hornets are more concerned about being in Los Angeles than the Clippers being in Los Angeles. I mean, can you imagine spending Christmas Day in Los Angeles? Because some of these teams are going to fly out for Christmas on the road the day before. So I imagine that's what the Hornets did. They spent their Christmas Day in Los Angeles with their families. And I think they're getting the schmack L spot here for the Clippers. Their next couple of games, looking forward for their rest of the week schedule. They play at home against the Grizzlies, and then Monday night at home versus Miami, and then next Wednesday in Phoenix. So this is one of those scheduling W spots that they definitely should pick up a W here to go back on a win streak before they start playing more top-tier teams.
The thing you said that I like there was you talk about how they're laughing with the Lakers game. And, I think what that does for them is it gives them the confidence boost because they did get beat up by Boston. So to watch the Lakers come out there and get beat up, it's like that kind of is that collective sigh where you go, see, they are a good team. And it kind of validates that you don't have to question what you're doing. It proves that that's a good team. And they just, you ran into the buzzsaw and that's going to happen. So great get back spot. I love the thoughts on the travel as well. The Hornets 1-11 against the spread, getting smoked 11.5 points against the spread versus non-divisional teams as a double-digit dog after a home game. So that kind of speaks to the travel in a non-divisional spot where the books say they're going to get smoked. They get smoked. They're 1-11 against the spread, losing to the spread by almost 12 points. So 11.5 moved to 13s. I'm fine with that. The Clippers have won 13 in a row at home against the Hornets. Bad schedule spot, bad travel spot for the Hornets. Hopefully they got themselves a little bit of sun out there in California and enjoy the time with the families because it's back to work and back to beatdown. So that's gonna wrap me up. It's unfortunately moved to 13, but hey, it is what it is. We are where we are. Billy, that parlay again, that was the Clippers, the Magic, and the Kings, and you said it was even money, right?
Yep, -115. And the two props that we went with was CJ McCollum over 2.5 3-pointers, -150 on FanDuel. And then -136 on FanDuel, Patrick Williams over 1.5 3-pointers.
Love it, my guy, Billy Briz. I text Billy before the holidays and I was like, hey, we got a show on Tuesday. You want to do it? And his response was, fuck yeah, let's go. So let's do it, my guy, Billy. Always enjoy having you on Tuesdays. I know we got a lot of things coming up here. We got a little MMA hiatus for the next, 2 weeks or so until the big January 13th card. But tell everybody what you got cooking, where they can find you, what's making it happen for you this week and next week as you're filling your time before the big MMA season starts again.
Yeah, we got New Year's popping off this weekend, so you got to get that money right for the new year. Got to go out with the year with a bang. So make sure you watch the videos here at Pub Sports Radio. I'll be on the Saturday show with Davy Cab for the NCAA, probably in the morning at noon with C Mac. Other than that, probably be, I think the NFL Pub Hub is this Sunday. Hopefully make an appearance on there and try to crack back into the top 5.
Nice, Billy. Well, I appreciate you, my guy. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the night here, the day after Xmas with an NBA focus. I know you're going to bang the books out. Thank you for sharing all the good, hard work with us today. And a shout out to everybody that's out there in this chat as well. Nuke Worker, Ian, Cheshire. Enjoy seeing all you guys and gals out there. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. I'll give you the rundown here, or a great holiday, I should say. We're just in the midst of the season. I did take that first half over in the Kansas game, 33.5 in college football. Official plays for me in the NBA. I've got the Nets and the Kings at minus 120. I did drop that Washington over 237.5 spot. I went with Memphis plus 5 tonight. I've got the Miles Turner 12 plus points, the Houston Rockets at plus 115, and I bring the card to a close with the Clippers minus 13. If you guys follow me on X there at PimpSlapPOD, any last minute changes I make or moves to the card, you'll see them there first. Again, appreciate everybody dropping in Monday to Friday, last call, 6 p.m., Pub Sports Radio. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Every time any of these boys go live, you get that notification sent to you automatically, letting you know it's time to go out there and find a way to make some cash. $4.99 a month. Become a member if you haven't done so already. Love to see the gift giving with the memberships. And of course, all of you folks getting into the green now, helping us support the brand. We love it. We appreciate everybody. Shout out JPZ with the best comment to close it out. Said, "We be pumping."